Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric, and today I watched Survivor Winners at War Episode 2. Another awesome episode, and spoilers away if you haven't seen this episode and don't want to find out what happens yet, then stop listening right now. Go watch it. It's absolutely worth watching. Okay, so this time around, I haven't been feeling very good, but I am feeling better than I did last night while I was watching it. So I didn't take notes, but I took a whole bunch of screenshots as I was watching. So hopefully that'll help me remember everything that went on. So we opened up the episode with Boston Rob receiving a fire token, and he realizes what that probably means, that Amber has been eliminated from the other tribe. But he thinks maybe, just maybe, Sandra would have left him a fire token if she was voted off. That's really wishful thinking for Rob. He doesn't realize how much Sandra is offended by his not telling her that he was going to play this season. So I think that's a pretty funny dynamic that I'm pretty sure that they're going to be mortal enemies once the tribes merge or tribe swap happens and they end up on the same tribe. And Rob has no idea that that's about to happen. But Sandra, she definitely knows that's going to happen. So Ben and Denise are gathering wood, and Ben is giving her tips on how to find these immunity idols. He's like, just look for blue stuff, which I feel like isn't really a tip that somebody needs to be taught, but it works. Denise finds an idol, and it is a two halves idol, and she has to give away the other half to somebody else before sundown for it to have any power. Ben does not pressure her to give him half of the idol. Instead, she goes over. Well, he tells her, "Well, hey, let's Adam's a good choice. Talk to him about it." And all of that, but she talks to Adam. I was like, I was thinking maybe I should give half of it to Parvati. I was like, what are you? Are you insane? So he convinces her to give it to him instead of Parvati, because Parvati would just blow that up, and so really dodged a bullet there. Meanwhile, see Yul Kwan getting some breadfruit using a big pole with a rope on the end of it. Very, very smart strategy to get that fruit down from the tree. And he also bonds a little bit with Kim while he's doing that. But as Kim is going off to take the breadfruit back, I think she already took the one small piece of fruit back already. But she finds an idol. It is the same style of idol as was found by Denise, and she needs to give it to somebody, half of it to somebody else for it to have power as well. So she hides it real quick because Tony and who else was there with Tony? I think it was Adam, not Adam. What's his name? The other guy. Nick. Nick did not have any confessionals in this episode at all. But she ends up approaching Sophie, and then we get Sophie's confessional. She's like, what an idiot. She should not trust me at all. So that was pretty great. But so far, the trust has not been betrayed, although it came pretty close. It seemed like Ben was about to spill the beans about the idol, because he was talking about idols at tribal councils. Jumping ahead, that is that tribe, the blue tribe, Sele, did lose the immunity challenge, and so I'm jumping ahead a little bit there. Meanwhile, over on Edge of Extinction, they get this big clue, and they end up neither of them figure out. So Amber and Natalie are there, and neither of them figure out the clue, that the first letter of each line of this really long clue just says water well. But after they give up on looking, Natalie goes to get some water, and she looks inside and she sees the what was it? It was an advantage. and this advantage was called power or safety without power. And she could sell it to anybody, and it's kind of a gamble for who still has fire tokens, because people may have spent it on silly stuff already, like some bread or something. And she chooses Jeremy because she knows that he has at least the fire token that she bequeathed to him when she was voted off. So hopefully he would still have at least that one. But he does still have 2 fire tokens as far as I know, and he spends it right away. Like, he doesn't have to think very hard. He does think about it for a second, but he buys that safety without power advantage. And that safety without power, it can be played at Tribal Council, that you just leave Tribal Council, go back to camp, and you can't be voted off, but you also can't vote. So it's a way of immunity, but it kind of screws over your alliance if you have an alliance that needs to pull something off. But if he's on the bottom and he's in real big trouble and he's the target, he can play that, and he says, "All right, see you guys later," and just heads back to camp. I don't think that there is a time limit on this. I don't think they mentioned it. So this would be super useful after the merge and all of that. Like, I think it would be more useful after the merge than it would be before, unless he's really, really in trouble. Then we have Tony trying to keep busy. He builds a really questionable ladder, and he gets a ton of people to help him carry it over to a breadfruit tree. A big contrast to Yule's method of picking fruit. And everybody is like, what is he even doing? This is such a bad idea. Wendell comments, hey, look, it's becoming a spiral staircase here. It's just twisting around. And yeah, this whole segment was really, really funny. Sophie was kind of losing it. Tyson was baffled that Tony has a job where he's keeping people safe on the streets. But it kind of works. He climbs all the way up to the top and grabs a couple of fruits. But he needed help from everybody, and it was so questionable. The bottom rung falls off like right away. He's like, "Oh, somebody give me a boost." So silly. But yeah, that was really fun. Cops R Us are reunited as Sarah and Tony walk back to camp along the beach. And she says, "Well, now I know who I'm playing with, and so this alliance could work as long as it's kept secret." And there's no way that it's kept secret, but the fact that nobody seems to really be all that worried about them, that could very well change as soon as Dekal, the Red Tribe, loses another challenge. But we head over to the immunity and reward challenge. The reward is a whole table full of spices and herbs, all that stuff that makes the food just a little bit more edible, and whatever else they cook. And the challenge has them collecting. They have this cart, and they're collecting 3 big chests by knocking the keys off of a big pole. And then they have to get the chests through an obstacle and also disassemble the cart to get through that obstacle, and then reassemble it, get the chests all the way to the end, and then assemble a big dragon, a circular dragon puzzle. So over on, let's see, that was Team Cele's 2 people who were doing the puzzle were Sophie and Sandra, and then Team Dekal. No, sorry, that was Team Dekal's 2 people. And then we had Denise and Rob doing the puzzle for Team Cele. And then the rest of the entire teams were doing the obstacles and all of that. So Rob and Denise, mostly Rob, totally blew this challenge. They weren't even close. They were still working on the 2 sides with the the two different colored dragons most of their bodies, which should have been the easiest part of the puzzle. But yeah, they went about it in a really, really weird way. And Team Decal, they just tore right through it and won the challenge. They're all happy, of course. And Boston Rob, I have to assume his mind was not in the game because Amber had been voted off. So surely he was distracted about that. But somehow, this whole thing back at Tribal, or back at the camp, you have Danny starting to freak out, and she goes to talk to Ethan and Ben, and she's like, well, I just want to make sure this old school, new school thing is happening. And Ben is like, wait, what? And then Ethan's like, you know that he's a new school guy, right? And Danny's like, oh no, I didn't mean that. I was, oh. So she's freaking out. She feels like she's out on the outs with the old school folks. And she's, of course, also on the outs with the new school folks. And she totally blew it talking to Ethan and Ben. And she goes to talk to Boston Rob, try to make things all solid. And she says, hey, I'd be willing to vote off Parvati. So let's do that. And Ethan hears about that, tells Parvati, and they're like, well, yeah, let's that's not a good thing. So over on Tribal Council, the new school guys, so Michelle and Adam and Jeremy, they're like, well, okay, we should target Parvati. This is our chance. But it does not turn out that way. Very interesting Tribal. First, Adam isn't able to get his torch into the slot. He's just trying to stick it into what looks like a hole, but it's not. And Ben helps him get it over into the right place. That was pretty great. But yeah, Ben brings up the whole talking about the old school and new school, and it's kind of a lot of drama. And the topic of immunity idols comes up, and Rob says, well, let's find out where the immunity idols are. Everybody empty your bags. And everybody empties their bags. But Adam does protest. So that was good to see, like, at least somebody be like, why, what the hell, why are we doing this? Or is it doing what Boston Rob says? It's kind of crazy. But also, like, if you don't have an idol, then why not just dump out your bag? Denise and Adam hide their halves of the idol somehow, and they are not found out, or at least we're not shown that they're found out. And so they are both safe for right now. And that was pretty cool. Denise, I think she was holding her bag and holding like the part to keep it inside of the bag as everything else was on display. So that was pretty cool. But the vote ended up being unanimous. There was one vote for Parvati, cast by Danny, and then all the other votes, 8 other votes cast for Danny, and she's sent to Edge of Extinction. She bequeaths her fire token to Denise for some reason. I don't know. I guess she had to pick somebody, and I guess she doesn't have relationships with anybody on the other tribe either, so this must have been, who she felt most connection with, I suppose. So yeah, Danny heads to Edge of Extinction, and that brings us to next week's preview with Tony doing something with a fish, being all kinds of crazy more, and then it looks like Sandra might be targeting Tyson. I don't know. I only tuned right back in, like in the middle of the preview. Like during the commercial break, I closed the app, and then I opened it up again real quick, and was in media res, or however you say, however you pronounce that, in the middle of the action. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to next week. I'm a little bit sad that this was only 1 hour of the show today, this week. This whole season should just be 2-hour episodes every week, honestly. But yeah, I am absolutely rooting for Decal still, and this episode I totally nailed it in my fantasy Fantasy Survivor League because I think I chose. I put 3 points on Danny getting voted off, and I also got 3 points each for Tyson and Yule because they're on my tribe, and they both you only have 2 people on your tribe, and they both won immunity and reward. So I totally nailed it this week, and I am first place in my league, and I'm really happy about that. So people, I like Ethan more and more every single episode. I'm kind of starting to like Ben. Like he's like so. I don't know. He's kind of seems like he's like stumbling into situations that work out pretty well for him, and I'm kind of enjoying that. So I think this next week I might go back and watch his season because I still haven't watched that entire season yet, and see what's this Ben guy all about. I know at the time people were pretty upset because they changed how the final tribal council works, adding the fire challenge into there and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm enjoying watching him so far. Also, Adam has been really funny in this episode, and Denise, she is kind of killing it. She found an idol, and she got an extra fire token from somebody who she didn't even really know before this, and that's pretty impressive, I think. She could be the dark horse to win this whole thing, but it's going to be a lot of work to do that, I think. What they've got to do is actually well, I guess they did technically target the old school people, but target the actual threats who are old school people. Get Parvati out. Get Rob out of there. They're the 2 biggest threats in the game right now. However, you cannot discount the other tribe at all. The entire other tribe is a huge, 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 huge threat. I think all of them on the red tribe have like 10 times the likelihood to be able to win this thing. So it is just kind of screwed, I think. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next week. I hope that Tyson does not get voted off because it seems like he's going to get targeted. These people, they need to wake up and get rid of Rob and Sandra and Parvati, the big dogs. Get them out of there. A bunch of people this is only their second time playing the game. I want to see one of them win, especially if it's Yule. Okay, so going back to that whole comparison, showing the 2 different ways of getting breadfruit, I thought that was really great, showing that contrast between Yule and Tony. And I think that we could end up seeing, I hope that means that we're going to end up seeing those 2 at least close to the end going at it against each other. And that could be really fun because they're both so different. But Yule 100% rooting for him and Tyson and Sarah. Although apparently, according to the Fantasy League, Sarah currently has a 5% chance of winning. So I don't know how that's calculated. But I guess it's just like how many people are left in the game. That it's straight up arithmetic because everybody is still technically in the game. So 1/20th would be 5%. So that's how they calculate that. But so I'm not quite as upset about that now. I was like offended. I was like, what? Sarah only has 5% chance to win. That's just the numbers, baby. So anyway, I'm never going to say that again. Let me know what you thought about this episode of Survivor Winners at War. The name of this episode was some kind of Survivor economy, I think, or something like that, because Natalie was talking about how the fire tokens are going to be important and that they're not just to buy tarps and things like that, and that it's going to be really important going forward when people realize oh, we don't spend, and I think pretty much everybody has realized we haven't seen anybody spend it on luxury items, food, or anything like that. And also, still, no tokens have been created. None have been destroyed. It's all just the 20 fire tokens. And somebody on the thread, well, a bunch of people on Reddit threads noticed that it looks like on the immunity idol, that the eyes on that skull are fire tokens, and that somebody could figure that out and get 2 extra tokens right there. So that would be pretty cool if somebody does figure it out, but maybe they never figure it out. I don't know. But yeah, I'm so excited for next week. And so let me know what you thought about this episode, who you're rooting for. If you're doing a Survivor Fantasy League as well, how are your picks doing? By tweeting me at TIW Podcast. Go to TIWpodcast.com for more reviews. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else on the site, please share some links with your friends. Subscribe in iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you like to listen, and stay safe out there in all the infinite multiverses. I'll see you next time here on TIW Podcast. Bye.